TitleMatchNetwork.com.
Going back, just keeping timeline with everything, in the 70s, what other territories did you work in? Yeah, I mean, you did the Alabama. Where'd you go from there?
And I did the Florida, and I visited around, and they booked me out a lot because that TV, Ted Turner's TV became so popular. And because of Brad right here, Brad made me a lot of money because Roddy Piper and I got in an argument. They had an invitational tournament, the old Omni in Atlanta, and we invited teams from everywhere, and Brad and I ended up winning. So Brad took his winnings, bought him a white Corvette. And Roddy Piper said something that really irritated me, and this is a shoot on TV about Brad buying that white Corvette, and the rest is history. Roddy and I we didn't like each other very much, in other words.
Right.
He was young and big mouthed. He was talking about my son, and I didn't think he had the right to do that. He won the damn money to buy a white Corvette if he wanted to, you know. And that Roddy was butting into my family business, and so I didn't like that, so we had a pretty good one. An argument on TV started a real serious, just me and him getting in an argument. People knew I was serious, knew he was serious, and it made me money for a year.
Right.
And I never did even work to Carolina. They just sent my interviews there about Roddy and him about me. And I'd go to that Greensboro Coliseum and get a standing ovation. Never had worked it, just walked down the alley. Holy mackerel. And they said I know I'm sounding like I'm bragging, but this was told to me, when they would play my interviews about Roddy at their TV stations, the people would all stand up and applaud me.
Wow.
I've never even been there. That's the power of television.
Right.
That's the power of publicity for you.
You know, the thing Roddy said was like about me buying the Corvette. You know, we won the national tag team titles at the tournament, and you know there was a Japanese Masasai Ito was there with Mr. Fuji. I mean, there were teams from all over the world. We won that tournament in the Omni, and I couldn't have been 20. You know,
No, you're 18 or 19.
or 19. You know, so. It was a big deal, and he was like, "Yeah, you're making, Roddy, in his Roddy way, Roddy fashion. Yeah, he's making money. He's doing good. He's doing well. He said, and he spends it. He just blows it on a Corvette. He said, something along those lines. And the famous line that I'll never forget is Dad telling him on the show, and this was perfect. It was like, Roddy, this is all mind over matter. I don't mind, and you don't matter. And it was like, whoa, I was thinking, God, I wish I could come up with stuff like that, and I to this day can't come up with stuff like that, but he can, and that just got over, and it was a good angle. And
how growing up in the business with your father, as the legendary Bullet, how is that as a child, like in high school? I mean, obviously your friends know. Your father's famous and all.
Everybody knew me as they might not know my name, but they knew my dad's name.
Right, right.
It was like, his dad's a wrestler.
Now you were
even the football coaches were like, his dad's a wrestler.
Right.
And everybody knew.
And back then,
that was something.
Right.
I mean, nowadays, pretty much anybody can be a wrestler.
It's like, oh, you're a TV star now.
Anybody can just order boots on the internet. But he was actually, he really was. There weren't many channels back then. He was on one of them, Nowadays there's a million channels and wrestling's on 3 or 4 different ones, but it was a big deal, man. It was a real big deal.
And you would go to all the matches, right?
As many as they would let me go to.
Okay.
I didn't let him go to a whole lot.
I
didn't let him go to a whole lot of matches because there were, kooks out there, and I didn't want people to know where I lived.
Right.
I didn't use my real name. I just tried to keep my family away from the business as much as possible. I just felt like that. Some people feel differently. I was probably overprotected, but that's exactly the way I felt.
Right.
I just wanted to protect my family, and that's because I've had people follow me home before back then because the show I was on, Live Atlanta Wrestling First, was the most popular TV show in Georgia for 11 straight years.
Mm-hmm.
Then they got in a big argument, and Ted Turner came and said, if you boys will come with me, I'll never move you. You'll have that Saturday morning spot. So we all went with Ted Turner, and the show was so strong that back in that day, nobody young, remember, you had to have a special attachment on top of your TV. UHF, I think, was something like that.
That was the Georgia Championship Wrestling on TBS. That was like, what, 80?
Exactly. Yeah. So everybody had to order. Atlanta ran out of those things to put on TVs, and we had a lot of elderly fans, and the old folks home called and griped like, what the hell happened to our wrestling, this, that, and the other.
Right.
So they got a big order from New York, and And we said it became the most popular Saturday morning show.
Right.
Ted, and from then on, Ted Turner was a heck of a wrestling fan, a heck of a guy.
Isn't it true that Ted Turner, the only reason he got his start in the TV was because that wrestling show succeeded?
Well,
That's what I heard.
He was
That's one of
having
the
a hard.
reasons,
That's
yeah.
one of the reasons. He was having a hard time. He had a very small studio, half the size of this. Just would you
Yeah,
say,
it was-
half the size
it was
of,
tiny.
or maybe 1/3 the size of this building we're in tonight.
Mhm.
It's very tiny. But when he took the wrestling, it shot through the roof. His ratings shot through the roof.
Right.
And every Saturday morning, but it went crazy for him, and he stayed with wrestling for a long time.
And this is totally off the subject too, but I want to get in there while it's fresh on my mind. When you said Eddie Graham being the best finish man in the business, at different times in history or in different time periods, this guy right here, and I know he's my father, but I'm not saying it because he's my father, can give you a finish that quick. And maybe you learned from Eddie Graham, and I'm sure you did from being around
Learn
him.
from everybody.
But you pick up a little something from everybody, I'm sure. But he is the best finish man I have ever been around. And I've worked with some of the best, Bill Watson, and I've been around Eddie Graham at the same time in his later years. Dusty Rhodes, all these guys. But my dad will come up with something that, and even if somebody comes up and says, hey, here's what we're going to do, it's like, bing, bing, okay. And Dad said, why don't we do this and boom, boom, just change, just tweak a little bit, and it's like, yeah, great, that's great. And that's
All I
it.
did was copy, buddy.
Yeah,
I
well,
appreciate you
no,
saying
but
that.
and honest to God, I'm not saying that because he's my dad. I'm saying that because I can't do it. You know what I mean? I can say, I'll just schoolboy you. You know what I mean?
Right.
But he can dress it up and make it,
Only because I had to.
Yeah, so it's,
I had no choice.
I'm sorry, I know that was a little
that's-
off the course, but I wanted to get that in.
Title Match Network, your source for everything pro wrestling, with exclusive live pay-per-views featuring top talent from around the world.
Oh, I like that one.
Details direct from the source with deep diving shoot interviews and podcasts.
I love it. I love being a part of Title Match Network.
Get extreme with exclusive death matches.
I threw my door.
And of course, the best selection in women's wrestling available.
Oh! What's gonna happen?
With thousands of clips featured on Title Match Network's YouTube channel with over 2.3 million subscribers.
Oh!
All at the tips of your fingers. Every style available 24/7 on demand. Visit TitleMatchNetwork.com to sign up today and start watching instantly.
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.
TitleMatchNetwork.com.